Alright, so we have another very, very slow week at the box office. Next month we have not next month, next week we have a slew movies coming out, but I don't really think that even that week is gonna be a very fast week because you have M. Night Shyamalan's new movie and 80 for Brady, which 80 for Brady is gonna probably make like 5 million, kind of like House Party, open to 5 million. M. Night Shyamalan's new movie is kind of like, the probably gonna be like an overlooked movie, but yeah, he's making a new movie. It'll probably make like 15 to 14 to 14 million opening. Those are my predictions for the movies next week, but we'll talk about this week. And the biggest new release is Infinity Pool, which, yeah, I don't know. I didn't look at the budget for that movie, but yeah, probably is a flop. So the number one movie of the week is still, like last week, is Avatar. 7 weeks in theaters, and this movie has passed 2.1 billion. It's funny, I asked a bunch of people if they have seen this movie, and they have not. So, I don't know how this movie is making so much money. Okay, only like 2 or 3 people have actually seen this, and they said that this movie is good. I have not seen this movie because, I can't really, I have zero interest in seeing Avatar, first of all, but yeah, this is a movie that I don't really care all too much about in terms of scene. But the fact that this movie, despite, it being a sequel to a movie that came out a decade ago that literally no one talks about, is an extremely good accomplishment for James Cameron because when it comes to favorite movies, no one talks about Avatar, okay, of all time. No one talks about Avatar, despite making 2.9 billion, including the re-releases, okay? And now, the movie is doing worse than the first one in the US as well. But yeah, that means, and yes, well, that means we're going to get Avatar 6 and Avatar 7 as well. They're going to make this like the Call of Duty, movie. You get your new Blue People movie every year. Because, yeah, they're planning 3, 4, and 5. And I like everybody was like mocking, Avatar. Like, oh, we're getting 4 Avatar sequels, and we don't even know if the second one will make money, but the second one did. And even if James Cameron, passes away, Disney, it'll all be in Disney's hand, and, Disney will be probably picking who will helm the franchise because even though Avatar Way of Water came out way after Avatar, actually it's doing better than Avatar. This is the numbers versus Avatar. But Avatar is having, Way of Water is having, worse holds than Avatar 1. So probably end up around here. Or no, Ant-Man's coming out, so yeah. It'll probably end up around 650 to 700 million. I'm guessing that's the end numbers. But yeah, people were saying that this wasn't even gonna hit 500 million. I was saying that it was gonna hit 500 million. I said this movie will make 1.5 billion at max. Maybe it might hit 3 billion, like those people have been saying. But yeah, it's not gonna hit 3 billion. Considering that Ant-Man's coming out in a couple weeks, they're gonna get this movie out of theaters once Ant-Man is out because, that's the next big movie is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The movie will probably, this movie is making a lot of money because it's the only, this and Parts and Boots are the only major movies in theaters right now. Okay, the only major franchise movies. Of course, there are other smaller movies, but these are the only major movies that are really still making money. And speaking of Parts and Boots, this movie has made 334 million. This movie is having extremely good ratings. This movie is also out on digital. It came out on digital last week. Despite coming out on digital, it is still it went from third because Megan outsold the movie, and then it went back to being number 2. It hasn't even dipped below 10 million. And there isn't really it doesn't really have any competition until Mario comes out. Yep, that's how balanced it is for animated movies this year. It has literally zero competition in the theaters until Mario comes out. So it'll probably be like making around 1 million per week. But again, even stuff like Ant-Man will still take away the family audiences, and we all know that because families love Marvel movies, obviously. Shazam's coming out, as well. Though families do see Marvel movies, but these are for people who, you know, parents say, "Oh, Marvel's too violent." Those types of people are going to be watching this instead. But yeah, this movie has made $140 million world domestic. I think this is even more impressive than Avatar because this movie only opened to 12 million in its first weekend. 12 million, and now we are at 140 million for this movie. 140 million for this movie. Okay, this movie's gonna probably sell extremely well on digital, extremely well on Blu-ray, and do extremely well on streaming services. Says as well. Internationally, this movie's doing good internationally. Of course, definitely, obviously not as good as Avatar, but still doing better than in movies like White Yell. Still doing better than movies like, Strange World, obviously. And it's also the highest grossing DreamWorks movie of the year since it passed The Bad Guys. Let's also compare it to the first Puss in Boots, and it does pass the first domestic cume for the movie. This movie has better rigs than the first Puss in Boots. Okay, first Puss in Boots at the time only made $3 million. Okay, with the rigs this movie is having, there was a chance that this movie will pass the first Puss in Boots worldwide, despite coming 11 years after. Which goes to show if you make a good movie, similar to Top Gun, people could come. Word of mouth is definitely doing well for this movie because look at this and compare it to Top Gun. I know Top Gun made way more money, but if you compare it to Top Gun, this was Top Gun's rigs. It was because of word of mouth for Top Gun. Okay. The weekend for Top Gun were very, very small drops, okay? Same thing with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Compared to the first Puss in Boots, well, it was a much more front-loaded weekend. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was competing with Avatar, which was a sequel to the biggest movie of all time. And Top Gun, it was a front-load release and still had amazing rigs. So we're going to see Top Gun-like rigs for Puss in Boots. Avatar is slowing down. I think it's going to start slowing down once Ant-Man comes out, obviously, because Avatar has no competition. That's another reason why Avatar is making so much money, because it does have zero competition. Even the first Avatar, you had like stuff like, okay, what was Avatar? So let's go to Avatar. What was competing with Avatar, the first one? Okay, Avatar, the first movie, you still had movies like Sherlock Holmes coming out, Alvin and the Chipmunks and Squeakquel, which was kind of like the animated competition. But actually, Alvin and the Chipmunks and Squeakquel was the live action CGI Avatar movie. Not Avatar. Alvin and the Chipmunks movies that nobody liked. And they made 4 of those. They made 4. Okay. But yeah, Avatar will release against Sherlock Holmes. It's still a good movie. It a good movie, but it will release against Sherlock Holmes. It's a really big movie. They were really hyping it up because Robert Downey Jr. was in it, and Sherlock Holmes is a beloved character. But yeah, even then, Avatar still beats Sherlock Holmes. So Avatar 2, Avatar Way of the Water, I still call it Avatar 2 because I'm lazy. And and yeah, Avatar 2, it competes with the big blockbuster movies. Avatar 2, when it came out, its only real competition was Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Okay. Black Panther Wakanda Forever released, a month ago, and that was the first big movie since Bullet Train. Okay. Bullet Train. Actually, it was since Black Adam. I actually forgot Black Adam existed. Okay, that's why I watched it. I made a video about why it flopped. Made tons of videos about it, and I forgot Black Adam existed. Next is A Man Called Otto. This is actually pretty decent ratings for this movie. This movie still is in the red, obviously, but this movie had a very small drop. Again, there's nothing coming out which helps this movie. But again, this movie still is a negative like $45 million, which is not good as well. But this movie, if it has a good word of mouth, I think could do well at the very end. But yeah, this movie is quickly running out of steam at the box office. So next is Megan. Yep. This movie, it's funny, this movie has mixed reactions when it came to this movie as well. But yeah, this movie has still made $82 million. They're making a sequel to this, which is not surprising considering how much money they made with this movie. 82 million. I like someone said, "Who is going to see Megan?" But my question is, who's going to see Avatar? No, I asked, people, have you seen Avatar the Way 2 or Avatar Way of the Water? Okay, that's basically, yeah. But no one went to go see the movie, despite making $2 billion. Okay, but yeah, this is a smaller movie. This movie still is more well received than Turning Red, obviously, by the same people online, because again, Turning Red is a disaster. We all know that because it's just who likes Turning Red? Oh wait, the critics do because it's a furry movie. Well, yeah. Next is Pathem, as an Indian movie. Yeah, I'm not tracking this movie. But apparently there is a small group of people who watch Indian movies, Bollywood movies. Apparently Bollywood movies are getting more popular in America, at least the big movies. So yeah. Missing. This movie has basically broken even at this point. This movie has a very tiny budget, just like the last movie. The movie is not out internationally, but even then, this movie has broken even and will make money. So, Missing will become a profitable movie at the end. The Wandering Earth 2, yep, they made a sequel to one of the highest grossing movies in Chinese history. And yeah, this movie has made $300 million in China, which is huge. And this is a sequel to the highest grossing movie, one of the highest grossing movies in Chinese history as well. It's also the highest grossing movie internationally this year. Yeah. Yeah. Apparently Megan released last year. But these are the highest grossing movies of last year. Yeah. Black Adam barely outgrows Sonic. That's sad. That's actually sad. Barely outgrows Sonic. And Sonic isn't really too popular outside of America. That's the funny thing. That's sad. Okay. Again, most of the newer movies that have been released have been released internationally. Next is Plane. Made $3 million internationally. Made $25 million. This movie is a flop, unfortunately. Again, these types of movies, a lot of movies that release in January are basically destined to fail. Next is Infinity Pool. Never heard. No one is watching this. Next is Left Behind, Rise the Anarchist. Yeah, no one's watching this movie either. Billie Eilish. Yeah, they made a Billie Eilish concert movie. Yeah. Everything Ever came out on theaters again. This movie did extremely well at the box office. They had this in theaters until October. But yeah, this movie has been out in theaters since March of 2022. So yeah, next is The Whale. Yeah, The Whale made $14 million. This movie has actually had pretty decent rates, but again, the theater numbers are getting worse and worse. This means people don't really have much interest in this movie. It's a much more niche movie. And then Women Talking, they released this wide, and yeah, no one has been watching this even when they released this in limited release. They'll probably give this Best Pixel or something like that, because it's about sexual harassment. But also some news. Two movies have passed $100 million profitability as well. Puss in Boots: The Last List and Megan both crossed $100 million in profitability. So that means both of these movies are pretty profitable at this current moment. Puss in Boots passed $100 million profitability. It's probably going to continue making more and more money as more and more people go see this movie, as this movie ranks out massively at the box office. This worldwide as well, not just in America. And it's funny, this movie's on digital, so everybody has access to it on digitally, but there are still a lot of people who are going to see this movie in the theaters. I think this movie will probably make around $400 to $450 million worldwide at the end. But again, this movie will probably might even pass the first movie if it makes another hefty $30 million next weekend. And I think it's gonna probably drop. It's gonna probably make around $450 million. This is pretty successful for this movie as well. So Puss in Boots: The Last List and Megan has also passed 100 million. But I don't really think how much more than 100 million will Megan make. I think it'll make around not 100 million, not 400 million, 100 million as well. Because the movie had a small budget of it needed to make 40 million to break even as well. And Strange World, for some reason, is still in theaters. I wonder who's watching Strange World in theaters, because that movie's a failure. That's what that movie is. Violent Night is getting out of theaters, but again, that movie really was a Christmas movie as well. So yeah, that's basically about this video. Goodbye.